Some new details on the man accused of planning bombs in New York and New Jersey. Ahmed Khan Rahami was arrested when we were on the air after an intense shootout with police just over 24 hours ago. And since then, much more information has been coming in about who he is and what he did and where he went in the past few years, as well as how investigators were so quickly able to zero in on their suspects. Here now to talk more about this, Jeffrey Ringgold, director of the Soufan Group, a security and intelligence consulting firm, and an FBI veteran who spent 21 years with the FBI. Jeffrey, it's great to have you on the program.
Thank you. Welcome.
One of the big news items of the day is the father, Rahami's father, speaking out about his son. We have some sound from the father. We're going to go ahead and play that now.
2 years ago, I called the API. My son, he's doing very bad, okay? But they checked it almost 2 months.
Investigation's still going on, guys.
He's okay.
We don't know yet.
He's not terrorist. I said, okay. Now he say he's a terrorist. I said, okay. He's doing bad.
He's doing bad? What did he do bad?
He stopped my son. He hit my wife, and I put him in jail 2 years ago.
Who's he? What son did he stab?
Massive.
Okay, what happened? Why did he stab him?
That was for no reason.
So that's the father with some of his first comments, Jeffrey. As someone that's worked with the FBI, I'm just wondering if you could walk us through the process. Let's say the FBI gets a call from somebody's father and says, my son's a terrorist. What happens next?
Well, when the raw information comes into the FBI, it's put into what is called the guardian lead. And the FBI will then do a basic scrub into the databases and other the law enforcement databases to find out if that subject is known to anyone. There are different levels of investigation, the initial investigation being pretty much the data scrub and finding out travel and anything else. If nothing pops, if nothing appears nefarious at that point, they could do some surveillance, but you know, at some point, if they don't hit any tripwires, anything to indicate that the subject is actually involved in any nefarious activity, they're going to close the lead.
And if the father recants, because that's some of the reporting we're seeing early as it is, that the father did call the FBI and then said, well, no, I'm recanting that. I'm not saying that about my son. How key is the father, a family member in that for the FBI? Or once they say something to the FBI, is the FBI on their own investigation?
Once the father comes in and indicates that he has concerns, the FBI is going to start a preliminary investigation. At that point, it really doesn't matter if the father comes back and says, no, I want to take my claim back. The FBI is going to do due diligence and look to see what they can find out about the son. And if there's, again, nothing out there, then the FBI is going to have to close that lead.
Let's talk about what nothing out there might mean, especially considering the travel that we're hearing about. Again, just preliminary information, made multiple trips to Afghanistan, parts of Pakistan, specific parts of Pakistan that one wouldn't go to just for tourism. How would the FBI treat that?
Well, I was part of the New York office here, and if somebody came in and said my son is a terrorist and he went to Pakistan, Afghanistan region, that would raise a red flag to us. After they've looked at that travel, and if in fact that travel had occurred, if Mr. Rahami was back in the country at that time, that plays into the level of investigation they're going to do. But just to travel to the Afghanistan, Pakistan area, that is a concern.
You might be limited about what you can share with us, and we understand that, but I'm curious our footprint of the FBI abroad, in places like Quetta, Pakistan, for example. Let's say this individual that the FBI is keeping an eye on goes there. Do we have sources on the ground there to find out what he's doing?
Well, I won't talk about sources, but I can talk about the fact that the FBI does have personnel overseas in the embassies. I myself was in the Afghanistan embassy in Kabul for many years. That's where the FBI Liget offices will be working with the local law enforcement, because the FBI has no jurisdiction overseas. We'd work with local law enforcement over there to do our bidding to find the information we need.
Just want to point out to our viewers, again, 20+ years with the FBI, worked in the New York office. You did, obviously, time as well overseas. Jeffrey, your take, just your gut feeling. You're watching the story unravel. You were with us all day yesterday. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get to you because of the breaking news. But what is your sense of what we saw transpire since Saturday?
First, I want to say kudos to all the law enforcement agencies that worked so well together over the weekend in locating, identifying, locating this subject. I think a total of 50 hours from the first bomb in New Jersey to the apprehension in New Jersey. all the law enforcement agencies, the JTTF in New York and Newark, as well as the NYPD, New Jersey State Police, and all the other agencies worked very well together. And it's a textbook example of how we have to work in the future. My gut on this is it's very similar to a previous terrorist that went over to Pakistan, got training on how to build the bomb, and came back, and that's Faisal Shahad. He went over to the Pakistan, Afghanistan region after having lived in the U.S. for many years, being very much Americanized, and then something upset him. He went back over there. He learned how to build a bomb. He came over here and he tried to do an attack.
What have we learned then? If you look at that instance, which I believe happened 2009, around 2009 in Times Square, it happened again, though, if that's the case. It repeated itself before we were able to get to him. And it was just luck and some ineptitude that he wasn't able to kill anyone.
Who's that, Shahad?
Well, both, quite frankly. Shahad, but also now Rahami.
And that's true. And again, the FBI, the JTTFs are going to investigate leads that come in, and sometimes the people are under the radar. I think with Faisal Shahad, there may have been a little bit more information on him that gave the FBI some more impetus, but I don't think at that time, and I was out of the country at the time, I don't think there was any active surveillance on him.
It's interesting. And what can we learn is going to be a big question moving ahead. Jeffrey, great to have your expertise. We appreciate your patience and your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jenna, we're also learning a lot more about Ahmaud